Hello everybody, this is East Guru from Japan Gaming, and welcome to a Magic Duels video. This is going to be one of my favorite decks that we're going to showcase today. If you want to see the deck in action, just go ahead and skip this part, but real quick, I want to show you the cards that I'm using for the deck. We've got a couple copies of Fatal Push. Love that artwork. Serene Stewart, which is an ally. So this deck is all about allies and the ally mechanic, as well as the vampires, life gain and life drain. So it's a really powerful deck and it's a lot of fun. And we'll show maybe a few games using the deck and to see how it works, and then we'll have a two-headed giant round to see how it works with 4 players with a buddy of mine. So Grasp of Darkness is a really good 2-mana kill card. The deck has a few kill cards just to control the board. But as you'll notice, most of these are allies, and a lot of the vampires are allies too. You'll notice that the vampire envoy here needs to be tapped in order to gain life. And so a great combo is with the war cleric here, where you tap an untapped ally to gain 2 life. So you actually gain 3 life when you do that. But yeah, you'll notice there's a lot of vampires. The deck is pretty much all vampires and all allies. So a lot of really nice synergies. Always Watching is great, since everything has +1/+1 in vigilance. But you may realize this kind of a no-go with the with the envoy here, because the envoy needs to be tapped to gain 1 life. But with the Always Watching out there, you can't tap him. But of course, you can always tap him with the previously aforementioned creature, so it's not too backbreaking of a kind of a nombo, those 2 cards. But you can still actually tap the vampire and gain life. The Blood Bond Vampire, of course, is great in this deck. It grows incredibly quickly. It is a little pricey at 4 mana, but pretty much the turn you play it, it usually grows up to a 4/4 anyway. The Cliffhaven Vampire is a great flying blocker and drains the opponent, and we're gaining lots of life. And the Gideon Planeswalker is excellent too, because you can use the Zero ability to create an ally, a Knight ally creature token. That counts as an ally for all the ally synergies and will trigger all the ally effects. And then the mana base is just pretty basic. You've just got all the dual lands that we're allowed to have in Magic Duels, plus black and white. Sadly, there isn't a whole lot of easy mana fixing in this version of the game, but if you're running like a 2-color deck like this one, it's not too bad. This deck, this first hand is a little risky because I've only got the 2 lands. But another great thing, this deck actually really functions pretty well on not too much mana. The most expensive creature is 4. Sadly, I've got 3 of my big creatures in hand, but hopefully we can draw some mana. Or maybe I can show off this deck can actually function even if you're mana screwed. And it can also function if you're mana flooded as well. As, yeah, we're not drawing any lands. So, yeah, might as well keep the board clean here, I guess, instead of playing the cleric. By the way, if you can, always play this healer first. The 1/2 that I just played, the Calestra healer. Because every ally that you play after that is going to drain the opponent for 1 and you gain 1. And of course with the Cliffhaven Vampire, you drain for 1, gain 1, and drain 1 again. Okay, well, no creatures to deal with, so I guess we'll put some more creatures out here. So we're just going to keep draining here. And this is great because a lot of times if the board gets kind of stalled with this deck and you can't attack, you can just drain the opponent to death. If he has no good attacks and if you have no good attacks really, you can just still slowly win the game. There we go, we got one of our lands at least. I need one more. We'll just keep draining here. First strike for everybody. That's the ally ability kicking in there whenever an ally comes in. Everybody gets a first strike. Opponent's trying to trick me by creating a flyer there. Fortunately, it didn't work. Kalitas in my hand there, he is a vampire, but he's not an ally, so there isn't a whole lot of synergy, but Kalitas is just all around a really good vampire card. And yeah, I'm just going to keep the board under control here and just keep up the pressure, I think. Could gain 2 life by tapping an ally there, but you really only want to do it when there's kind of a board stall. But yeah, Kalitas is still pretty awesome. Any creature that you kill gets exiled, especially against the embalm mechanic. They get exiled so the opponent can't embalm anything. There's the envoy. And yeah, then you get vampires, and Kalitas can just grow bigger as a really good mana sink if you're mana flooded. So I can, turn this guy on purpose, gain 1 and gain 2 more from the cohort. No good attacks. But if we can get the Cliffhaven Vampire out there, we can just drain the opponent to death. And even if he attacks, no big deal, because lots of life gain. Ooh, the Caracal is always a good balancing card, so that's unfortunate. That means this game's going to be stalled a little bit. I'm still stuck on 3 mana. And yeah, so once again, here's a good example of the board getting kind of stalled out here. I'll just go ahead and gain 3 life. Or 2, sorry, since I didn't tap the 1/4. I wanted to keep the 1/4s on defense because they're pretty good blockers. Now all the opponent's tokens fly. I still haven't gotten that 4th land. But as you can see, we're still doing pretty good. 30 life. The opponent's down to 4. And I'm at 3 mana and he's got, what, 7 or so over there? Sadly, even though everybody's got first strike and lifelink now, that's the ally mechanic once again. Since I played an ally, everybody got first strike and lifelink. So ally mechanic is pretty amazing in this deck, as well as the vampire synergies. So you've got 2 synergies going on, which is a lot of fun. Oh, and it looks like my opponent's getting aggressive here, huh? Since they all fly, it's probably okay to take some damage. And I'll tap one of these guys. Gain 1 from him getting tapped and gain another 2. And since I have some life to spare, I was fine taking some damage there. Although the opponent is gaining some life from his lifelink cat there. Land. That is not a land. So yeah, pretty unlucky here with my draws. Anguished Unmaking is in the deck just because there's a lot of life gain. And so the life loss from it isn't too backbreaking, and it's a really good answer to pretty much anything on the board that's a real threat to you. Since Anguished Unmaking can pretty much destroy everything that's not a land. So any enchantment, any card that's like a shutdown card, like if they put something on Kalitas that shuts him down, you can destroy it. But I just didn't want him making too many 2/2 flyers, so I decided I would destroy his enchantment. But yeah, the opponent's getting pretty aggressive here. Because he's got all these flyers, which I can keep taking out turn after turn, but eventually I'm gonna have to make a move here. But still gaining quite a bit of life, even though I'm taking a lot of damage. All his life linkers are now gone. Shoot. So yeah, pretty mana screwed right now, but I hope this will kind of showcase that this deck can actually win without very much mana. As soon as I can get these Cliffhaven Vampires out there, we can pretty much just hold off the opponent's attacks and drain him to death. Just need one more mana. And once again, we'll kind of show off 3 games. I want to show off this deck maybe about 3 times. We'll do 3 different games. And then we'll do a 2-headed giant round with a buddy of mine and show you how it works in 2-headed giant, which is great. This is a really good deck in 2-headed giant. No matter what your ally chooses to play, you can keep you and your ally alive for quite a long time with all the life gain and the life drain. And a lot of the synergies are also great in 2-headed giant. There we go. So the Cliffhaven Vampire says whenever we gain life, each opponent loses life. So that's relevant in 2-headed giant. So instead of losing 1 life, since the opponent shares the life pool, they will lose 2 instead of 1. And I'm okay trading this off for something. He'll probably double block it, but I have first strike, so... Wow, no. It's just gonna chump block me, huh? Well, I gained life and he loses life. But yeah, we're just gonna pretty much drain him to death while we're holding off all his creatures. I mean, he's got a huge army here, as you can see, but I think we've got this. Unless he's got some kind of board, a board wipe. Let's trying to prevent some damage here, as well as take out a creature each time he does this attack. And once again, each time I'm gaining 3 extra life here. And the Cliffhaven Vampire triggers twice when you do this, which is awesome. Once when the 1/4 gets tapped, and once again when my 2/2 there gains life. Ooh, Dusk. Well, that wasn't too backbreaking. Oh yeah, and we're just drawing all these Cliffhaven vampires. I would love to get Kalitas out there, because every time a creature dies, you know, I'd be creating zombies. But yeah, as you can see, here I'm draining them out, and yeah, I can pretty much just win now by tapping my 1/4, and the game is over. Because by tapping my 1/4, I would gain life, and then gain 2 more life, and the vampires would drain him for 2. But I'll give the opponent one more chance here to attack. In all my games, I always like to see what the opponent would do before lethal. But yeah, we're just gonna tap this and the game is over. Game 1, he loses 2 because I've got 2 vampires out there. And once again, if we were doing Two-Headed Giant, which I'll be showing off, the opponent would have lost 4 there instead of 2. So everything's double. So the key word, you know, on there that says each opponent is very relevant in Two-Headed Giant, but it's not relevant really when you're playing a single player. Okay, this is a decent hand, so I'll go ahead and go with this. I have Always Watching, one of my favorites. Once again, it's kind of a nombo with the 1/4 flying guy, because you want him to tap. You want him to attack, because each time he taps, he gains you life. But once again, you can tap him manually, so it's not a big thing. Even if he's got vigilance and he doesn't tap anymore, you can still tap him manually. Well, yeah, the ally mechanic is really great with the vampires. And this is only a 2-color deck, so it's pretty awesome. And yeah, my hand is really good, and I didn't want to... You got rid of a Scarab Feast. I didn't want to discard anything, so I discarded a land, which is kind of a risk, but technically I should be drawing more lands than creatures. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get Always Watching going here. I haven't really been able to show the Serene Stewart here in action, but hopefully I will. Whenever we gain life, she puts a 1/1 counter on a creature we control, and that only costs 1 white mana to do. So you can grow your creatures pretty quickly in this deck because of all the life gain. Bonus Monument, each creature spell costs 1 less to cast. Well, we'll get the Emissary going. I'm not sure how long it'll survive. And once again, the Emissary is an ally, which is interesting. A vampire ally. A lot of these vampires have the keyword ally on them too. So if you've been curious about wanting to try an ally deck, you know, with the ally mechanic, ooh, interesting. It's gonna bring his 1/1 back. That was a pretty good move on my opponent's part. I did not expect that. But yeah, if you've ever been interested in the ally mechanic, this is a great deck to use the ally keywords. Okay, so with the Cliffhanger and, you know, my Emissary out here, we're going to be draining for 1, gaining 1. Wonder if he's got the same trick, no? Just wants to get rid of my 1/1, huh? So each turn here we're going to be draining for 1 and gaining 1, and as we gain 1 we drain another 1. So yeah, this puts a pretty strict time limit on the opponent. And with always watching, of course, your flyers can attack pretty much every turn unopposed. But it's anybody's game here, so... there are some big creatures. Man, I'm surprised the opponents had all these festering mummies. Still a pretty good blocker. Yeah, drain him for one, drain him again. Oh, here we go. Blood Bond Vampire. That's an excellent, excellent top deck. The Blood Bond usually will grow incredibly quickly. But yeah, this game is over anyway. Oh. Nice play there. He actually made a 2/2 blocker. So our opponent survives an extra turn here. Let's go ahead and tap. Gain 2, since I'm going to lose 3/3 here. Wow, so that was a pretty nice play by the opponent. Actually bought himself a turn there. But yeah, it looks like he's giving up now. So this land is in the deck just in case you're kind of mana flooding. It's a nice, well, with always watching affects it. 3/4 lifelink land. Usually it's a 2/3. And you can use it as a blocker or you know, a surprise extra attacker, and it's a black-white land, so it works perfectly in the deck. Okay, let's try one more round. This deck is a lot of fun to play. I know it may not be a lot of fun to watch, but it's a lot of fun to play this one. This hand is pretty iffy. And what is with that opponent? That is creepy. But yeah, after this round, we'll go ahead and have a look at a two-headed giant round with a friend of mine, so stay tuned for that. And I will be using this Vampire Life deck. And not sure what my friend will be using, but he's got his favorites too. So hopefully I can show off the Serene Steward here a bit, because I haven't really gotten to yet. It's really powerful. I haven't really gotten to show off the Blood Bond Vampire either, but if you go ahead and build this deck and try it out, you'll see that the Blood Bond Vampire is also incredibly powerful. It gets huge very quickly. But for now, I'm just trying to be mana efficient. Maybe we'll get an Always Watching out. You don't really need two Always Watching. There's two in the deck, and I just happen to have both of them in my opening hand, so that's pretty rare. And once again, you know, I don't mind trading off here. Oh, he's going to make it indestructible. Okay, well, I have another Serene Steward, and I made him waste his indestructible trick. Yeah, let's go ahead and get Vigilance going here. I mean, the only reason I made that, or attempted to make that trade last turn, is I have another Serene Steward here in hand. But I didn't expect him to have a indestructible trick. But that's what happens in Magic. Everything is unexpected. But yeah, this deck has a nice balance of you know, some kill cards if you need to control the board, as well as lots of life gain and then the ally synergies. So it's very powerful. Sadly, I can't fatal push the 3/2 unless I lose a creature. That's not really going to be worth it. So we'll just go ahead and let that through. Don't worry about taking too much damage with this deck because, you know, it does have a lot of life gain. Well, we can take out the token. If Kalitas was out here, we could stop all of the synergies. Okay, so here we go. We got the Serene Steward triggering now because we are gaining 1 life every turn. So I can start putting counters on everything. Yeah, he may be forced to chump at this point. You can also trigger the Serene Steward, you know, at instant speed with the Ondu War Cleric guy that says tap a creature to gain 2 life. So you can actually save your creatures instantly if say they try maybe what do you call it, kind of a, you know, like a red kill spell or something on you. You can give your creature a +1/+1 counter at instant speed and save your creature, which is very nice. But yeah, just for fun, I'm gonna put him in the negative here. He put Gideon out there, the Planeswalker. So let's just keep putting counters on my creatures here, making them bigger. So seeing what the Serene Steward can do here. Putting counters every time I gain life. But yeah, the reason he's not dead is because of the... he's got the emblem out there. As you can see, the Gideon emblem that says you cannot lose the game and your opponents cannot win the game as long as you have a Gideon Planeswalker. So that's why he's still alive. By the way, this +1 thing you can also do on your ally. As you notice, I could even put a +1/+1 counter on the opponent's creature. But yeah, so this deck works really good, as I'll show you in a 2-headed giant. You can put, you know, counters at instant speed on your allies, your friends' creatures, to maybe save your friends' creatures if the opponents are trying to kill, you know, your friend. So this is the emblem here. It says he can't lose the game, so it doesn't matter if he's got -10 there, which is kind of funny. I have no idea why he's choosing his land. I think the opponent has given up. But yeah, we can put counters on anything we want here, so it's great because you can really help your friend out during a 2-headed giant round. But yeah, here's another ally. More draining, more life gain. Getting more life gain, getting more counters. So yeah, once this gets going, it's a ridiculously fun deck. I'm not going to do a counter here. I'm just going to go ahead and edit my land. Not edit. What's the word? I'm forgetting what the word is, but make my land into a creature. Animate? Animate my land? I guess just for fun, let me see how much damage I can do. And I'll kill this Planeswalker and the game will be over. But yeah, it's kind of funny seeing opponent in a negative value and the game isn't over yet. Alright, so let's go to a 2-headed giant game. This will be a lot of fun. So in Two-Headed Giant, a lot of the effects are doubled. Like when it says drain your opponent for 1, there's actually 2 opponents. So you drain for 2. But I'm here with my buddy Wild Boar, and I'll be on the Vampire Life Gain deck that I've been showing off. And it looks like he's using... he took a mulligan there. He's using the Artifact deck, or the Vehicle deck, which is another really fun deck that I'll show off in a later video. The vehicles can be a lot of fun. But hopefully this game will showcase how the Vampire deck works in a Two-Headed Giant game. So I'm going to start with a Serene Steward here. When I start gaining life, I can put counters on things. And once again, you can put counters on your friends' creatures. So that definitely comes up quite a bit, especially if you want to save your buddy's creatures from a burn spell. If you want to save your buddy's creatures from a board wipe, possibly. You can put 1/1 counters on them at instant speed with the Serene Steward. But for now, my partner played Fevered Visions, which means we're drawing an extra card every turn. The opponents draw extra cards every turn as well, but they take damage when they draw cards. So it looks like the opponent just wanted to draw and discard there, since that attack was kind of pointless. But yeah, as you can see, our opponents lost 4 life there because of Fevered Visions. They lost 2 each, since it's doubled. So yeah, Fevered Visions is actually a pretty deadly card in Two-Headed Giant, because it does 4 damage since the opponents share the life total. We share the life total. The life total, if you didn't know, is shared in Two-Headed Giant. Even though it looks like we have separate life totals, you actually share it with your partner in Two-Headed Giant. It looks like my partner's got a pretty good hand, and I'm a little mana screwed right now, but as I've shown before, that's okay. Usually this deck can function even if you're low on mana. Still have quite a few cards in hand that I can still play, so I'm not stuck, with my hand. And once again, it's no big deal taking damage, since we'll be having a lot of extra life gain. So my buddy decided to take out the opponent's Planeswalker instead of doing damage to his face. But yeah, I'm really flooding out here. I've got a lot of great cards in my hand, but a lot of great vampires, but flooding out. But I'll go ahead and keep gaining life with this 1/4. Gain 1, do 1. And once again, if there's a board stall, which can often happen in Two-Headed Giant, with 2 opponents, there can be a lot of blockers. So with the vampire deck here, I can just be draining the opponent slowly. Ooh, 5/3 is not a creature I wanted to see. It's a pretty dangerous flyer. It's got that shield ability on him. You have to target him twice in order to take that creature out, unless there's a board wipe. which my deck doesn't have. I don't think the vehicle deck has a board wipe either. But there are some vehicles that could block that 5/3, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. No need to block that, really. Ooh, a strict... What is that guy? A strict proctor, I think is what he's called. Whenever we activate an ability, we take 2 damage, so that's actually pretty good. So Serene Steward putting a 1/1 counter, I probably... I'm not going to pay because I need my mana here. So I finally got 4 mana out here. As my buddy is setting up a bunch of his vehicles. No real good attacks unless we want to trade, I suppose. Yeah, Fevered Visions can draw you a lot of extra cards and slowly drain the opponent to death. As you notice, we're still at 30 life. And my buddy's got a full grip too with his hand. Lots of really nice artifacts and vehicles. And the Thopter Spy Network, that blue one he played previously, is the one that is making all those 1/1 Thopters. So yeah, sometimes this often happens. You get kind of a board stall with 2 opponents because you've got lots of extra creatures out. So it's hard to make decisions with your attacks and your blocks as well. But Two-Headed Giant is a lot of fun. Probably the funnest, not funnest, the most fun format. So he put Compulsory Rest on my Kalitas. That shuts down, attacking and blocking, but Kalitas's ability is still active. If any creature dies, I create zombies. So it's really no big deal. I don't really mind seeing that. I mean, Kalitas is a great blocker since he's got lifelink, but yeah, his effect still works. Any creature that's killed gets exiled instead, so that shuts down all the opponent's embalm effects or synergies from the graveyard. So yeah, I'm not gonna pay for the extra counters here, since I want all my mana to play out some more vampires. Get the healer out here to drain even more. So for every ally that enters, I drain him for life, and I can get more. The Serene Steward keeps triggering, but and my buddy's gonna go for a siege modification, making an 8/3 first strike trample. So yeah, we're draining him here quite a bit. And that 8/3 is pretty nasty. I mean, the opponent could, maybe block with maybe 4 or so creatures, but it would be a huge loss. So I'm going to go ahead and stay back to block as my partner here puts on the pressure. So we'll see how the opponent blocks. But yeah, another thing to think about in Two-Headed Giant is maybe have your partner attack and then you stay back so that you've got blockers. So you don't die on the way back. But we'll go ahead and see. So he's got 3 creatures blocking the first strike. That's not going to end well for him, since my buddy can take out the 3/3 cat which shrinks down the other 2 cats to 1/1s. So he's deciding the order there. And of course, by doing damage, he gets to draw another card, thanks to the Thopter Spy Network. So you have a lot of card draw going on here. And then Fevered Visions is going to give us some more cards. Ooh, got Gideon. That's great. Oh, and by the way, if you notice, I created 2 zombies because 2 creatures on the opponent's side died. So Kalitas is doing work, creating zombies. Uh-oh. That just did 2 damage to all flyers. So not too big of a loss, really. Ooh, interesting play by the opponent, putting the -1/-1 counters on his 5/1 flyer there, which actually cancels the effect. So because that 5/1 has a shield on it, and so the -1/-1 counters are not applied. So a very clever play by the opponent there. But yeah, we're just gonna be draining the opponent to death here pretty quick. And with my buddy's 8/3 trample first strike, opponent's gonna have a hard time. He's gonna have to lose a bunch of creatures, and since it's trample, he's not gonna have much choice. And of course Gideon, if I put Gideon out there, he can just make allies every day to trigger ally synergies. Yeah, I'll take that trade. I mean, it was a 5/1. Because he damaged his own creature. But yeah, we could end this in a number of ways. My hand is stacked and my ally's hand is stacked here. The Fire Weaver can end things really quickly, and now he's got multiple creatures with first strike with the siege modification. But I'm just going to make an ally here, and that's going to drain the opponent to death. So there you go, guys. That was Vampire Life, a very, very fun deck. And it's really fun to play in Two-Headed Giant. So try it out sometime. Want to thank everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this round of Magic Duels and this deck tech. Check it out. This is a really fun deck to play. And we'll see you all in the next video. Make sure to check out my main channel, East Guru Japan Gaming. Lots and lots of great content over there. I have more content over there than here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.